I've always been interested in the creepy side of the internet. Cryptids, theories, creepypastas, even just reading comment threads of people sharing unexplained stories that range from interesting to terrifying. And honestly, I do believe some of these things. Most of them no. But it's still interesting to think about the fact maybe some of these things could be true. Have you ever wondered why or how someone could disappear without a trace? Somewhere deep in the woods or high up on a mountain, something goes wrong and they're never heard from again. Massive search parties have been formed to look for these kinds of people, and sometimes they find nothing. It's hard to believe someone could disappear and leave no trace behind, no trail to follow, especially when it happens to be a kid. Is there something or someone causing this? Maybe they fall into the back rooms, or maybe they disappear from reality altogether. Nobody really knows what happens to the people we never find traces of. David Paulides is responsible for collecting strange missing people's cases in which people disappear without a trace, rarely being found at all. With his research, he wrote a few books breaking down these kinds of cases to try and understand them. Titled Missing 411, the books explain that these cases share a lot of similarities. Bad weather conditions within days of someone disappearing, search dogs not being able to find a scent or losing a scent abruptly, finding very little if any trace of life, and if traces are found, commonly people's clothes are found taken off of them, just laying there or sat neatly on the ground. Missing 411 is definitely really interesting. There's also a movie I strongly recommend you go watch. Along with David Paulides, if you look even for just a few minutes on the internet, there are a lot of people who have similar stories that can back up David Paulides' research. Beyond what's more grounded in reality, there's all sorts of disturbing content around online. With that being said, I'll share a few things that I've been looking at recently. Cryptids are animals theorized to exist somewhere in the world that lack any real hard proof that they do in fact exist. You're probably familiar with Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, but have you ever heard of a Wendigo? Wendigos share some similarities to humans and are usually depicted walking on two legs. The exact parameters for a Wendigo does vary depending on where you get your info. Some of these things are cannibals. It's said to cause its victims immense hunger for human flesh. Sometimes it's described as a spirit that will possess someone, and other times it's described as a fearsome beast with antlers. I fear somewhere deep in the woods this thing waits for me. Be careful camping in the wilderness. The legend of the Skinwalker is one I think about a lot. These witches have the ability to possess or disguise themselves as animals. They curse people and cause great suffering. At night their eyes glow red. If they see you and you don't know it's them, it's said they have to kill you. So the only way to be safe is to spot them out before they get to you. This one is particularly creepy because skinwalkers are able to look like normal people. You never know who or what could be living among you. The last cryptid I'll mention is the Grinning Man, who is believed to be connected to another cryptid, the Mothman, usually thought to be tall and wearing an old suit. Maybe he's an alien or a ghost, but this one creeps me out a lot. The thought of being on some dark street at night alone with no one around me when I notice behind me the smiling man. This is something I first heard about in a video about creepy search and rescue stories. Something the supposed search and rescue officer mentioned that he's encountered more than once while deep in the woods is a random set of stairs just plopped there. I've seen a few other comment threads about this too. He mentions how they vary in shape, size, and condition, and how they give off a very creepy vibe. You might think, well, who cares, they're just stairs. But he goes on to explain how his superiors urge him to stay away from them and to never go up them. If you're wondering, you can find the stairs in the woods just like described in the video. What are these stairs in the woods, and does anything bad really happen if you go up them? This one ties into the missing 411 cases. These cases commonly happen in national parks. This theory assumes that the government is aware that something is causing these disappearances, and the solution is to make the hot spots in which people go missing national parks. If you ask me, this theory makes a lot of sense. The best way to avoid and study these cases would be to control who has access to the areas in which these events happen. It's definitely interesting to think about, so watch out next time you visit a national park. This is something I could make an entire video on. Even if you've never heard of the term liminal space, you've definitely experienced it. Liminality is rooted in nostalgia, like looking back into the past except no one is there. A subcategory of liminal spaces, the backrooms, are one liminal space that freaks me out a lot. Technically any liminal space could be considered part of the backrooms, but the most popular interpretations are these hallways. The theory basically assumes it's possible to clip out of reality and into the backrooms via random locations around the world, and presumably never get out again. Lost in the endless maze of vaguely familiar landscapes, chased by the monsters that inhabit the past. Are we in a simulation? Could that explain all the missing people and the unexplainable stories? Are they just glitches in the Matrix or people who found a way out? With technology advancing so fast, it might not be long until we can create our own simulations to put people into. What if we're already in one? What if your life started last Thursday? Last Thursdayism is the idea the universe was created last Thursday, but with the appearance of being billions of years old. Including all living things and even the memories you have from before last Thursday, it would be impossible to know if this is true or not. Reality is under no obligation to make sense to us. There's no rule book for how the universe works. It's possible we've all existed since last Thursday. Roos Basilisk is a terrifying thought experiment in which a supposed super AI in the future would be incentivized to create a virtual reality simulation to torture anyone who knew of its existence but didn't directly contribute to its creation. While this theory is more fun than anything, there are people who have reported nightmares and mental breakdowns after learning of the theory. What makes this so terrifying is that once you know about Roos Basilisk, you have to contribute to its creation, or you risk it coming after you. Maybe telling you all this was a bad idea. Maybe making this video is a waste of time. I should be working to please the basilisk. The Library of Babel, a version of a universal library containing books with every possible combination of 410 pages of letters, thus containing every book that ever has been and every book that ever could be written. This is a real website you can go to, and you can find every book. Most of them contain random letters that mean nothing. But it's the infinite nature of it that makes it so creepy. If you look long enough, somewhere in there is the exact description of your death and the exact time and date the world ends. If you're familiar with the monkey on the typewriter theory, this is kind of similar. Agartha is an inner Earth kingdom that is said to be located on the inner surface of Earth, that is inhabited by advanced beings. Stories similar to Agartha pop up all over the world, in places humans originally had no contact with each other. These stories, when you look into them, seem to be connected. Could just be a coincidence. And if you wanted to find Agartha, there are supposed entrances somewhere on Earth. DMT is a very powerful psychedelic that is known to dramatically change conscious experience, so much so that people tend to report encountering entities while hallucinating in some alternate universe. Some of these entities people have reported are elves that sing a hyperdimensional language. These elves can transform themselves and the objects surrounding them. What are these entities? Are they real tangible creatures? Maybe there's some super advanced being trying to communicate with us. The Great Filter is the concept that any advanced civilization in the universe needs to overcome some kind of hardship to advance, but that it's so difficult they always go extinct before they overcome it. Whether it's from pollution, nuclear war, or artificial intelligence, one way or another they all fall to the Great Filter. This is one solution to the Fermi paradox, which attempts to answer why we haven't found any alien life. Maybe we're all just destined to die before we can find the real answer. There's too much to look through, and it's hard to tell what's real and what's made up for entertainment. Does falling down rabbit holes in the internet really give me any insight to the world around me, or is it all just a big waste of time? What if nothing matters because the sun's going to explode, or because none of this was real to begin with? Thanks for listening to me ramble. If you like this kind of content and want to see more from me or have any video ideas, feel free to leave a comment. I've been having a lot of fun editing these videos, and this is the kind of stuff I've been into for a long time, so it's nice to finally make my own video on the subject. Dead Presidents has really helped a lot in setting up my channel and helping me learn how everything works. Also, a huge shout out to Dream Corp, responsible for the music in this video. I'll link both of them in the description, so go check them out. Anyways, that's that.